The first presenter is Art Barron.
Thank you. Is there a representative from Gilroy High Wrestling here? Well, most of them are in Iowa at a tournament, so that's why they told me they probably wouldn't be able to make it here. But we just wanted to acknowledge Gilroy High Wrestling, because as you know, a lot of the kids that start in that program start over at South Valley Junior High, and with the other youth program they have there, like 5, 6 years old, and they produce champions over there at Gilroy High. This year, I think they were second in the state. They have the new coach, Daniel Cromier, the heavyweight champion, is the Gilroy High coach. And they've got a lot of state champions, but the thing that drives them, like everybody else here, is they have determination and they don't give up. And they are fighters on the mat over there. And the thing that stood out to us is the students, they're students. So they're not just wrestling and worrying about that. They have to have a great GPA that the coach gives them, not what the school gives them. And before they go to wrestling practice, they have to go to study hall and study. And a lot of those wrestlers are very great students. So they've gone on to Stanford, Arizona State, a lot of four-year colleges that they wouldn't be able to go. And there's a lot of them that are Latino. Their parents are farm workers or low income from East Gilroy. So we want to give a big shout out to Gilroy High Wrestling. Thank you.
She has worked to raise money for scholarships. She's a Spanish tutor, and that at a very young age. I present to you Lisette Villarreal.
Thank you so much for having me here. I just want to thank you guys because this is going to look good on my college resume, so thank you. But honestly, thank you so much to CARAS for giving me a booth at the Tamale Festival. We were raising money for a scholarship with the program I had with Mecha. Thank you to the Latino Family Fund, the Gilroy. You guys were supportive since 2014. I was 12 years at the time, and now I'm 16. So that means a lot to me. And thank you to my mom. She's right here. She looks like my sister, but she's my mom, I promise. But over 25 years ago, she crossed the border and came to this nation in search for a better life and a better education for her children. And now she's thriving to get an education for her own. She's going to Gavin College right now. And she's learning English, and also she was a peer mentor for the non-credit department. And that just to me says that she's very inspiring to me and motivates me to do the best that I can. But that just motivates me to go to pursue an education for my own, and I hope I can graduate from GECA because I know it's very challenging, but I hope to get a 4-year degree. But I'll get off right now before I start crying even more. Thank you.
Oh, yes. We have the Art and Essay Contest Awards. And those are the final ones, right?
Yes.
So, do you want to go ahead and announce those?
I sure will. The next set of award winners are, they're the reason that we do this. They're the reason that we work in the community. They're the reason that the legacy of Cesar Chavez and the social justice movement is so important. These two students are actually both from South Valley Middle School. They worked really hard, with my favorite middle school. They worked really hard on an art contest and also on an essay contest about the life and legacy of Cesar Chavez. The first winner, Edgar Alfaro, I'd like to call him up. His artwork is on display right back here by the Happy Birthday Cesar sign if you'd like to come check it out. And also, congratulations to you, Edgar. And then the next young lady, Luna Rossi. Luna, you're here? She stuck it out, her and her mom. And her little sister stuck it out. She wrote the winning essay. And she'll be sharing it with us now.
Cesar Chavez was a civil rights leader who fought for the rights of migrant farm workers. He used nonviolence to express his beliefs and led protests and strikes. Cesar grew up in poverty. He spoke up for his people's rights and made a huge impact on society. He has made a difference in the present day many years ago. The early life of Cesar Chavez was rough and labored. He was born in Yuma, Arizona on March 31st, 1927. His family lost their farm in the Great Depression and they were forced to move to California. As many other migrant farm worker families, his childhood was in the midst of poverty. His family, as many others, could not afford housing or clean utilities such as clean restrooms, water, and clothing. Chavez did not receive any higher form of education other than 8 years. Many farm workers did not know or learn how to read. Cesar left his education behind him when he left for farm working to help sustain his family. He later went on into the Navy for 2 years, then dropped out again to help his family. This was the hard life of being a child of a migrant farm working family like Cesar Chavez. As Cesar got older, he began perceiving the troublesome life these families were going through. Like Cesar, these families and workers had no decent utilities. They spent long days in rain or shine, and they were not being treated kindly or with enough respect. These farmers and their families received minimum wage of $2 a day for a day's work of planting and harvesting, with no clean water or restrooms. Children like Cesar Chavez were dragged into this loop of work just to be able to maintain an almost survivable lifestyle. This was the hard, miserable life of migrant farm workers that migrant farm workers went through. Cesar Chavez made an immense impact on society. He saw how farmers were being treated and decided he wasn't going to stand for it. He believed in nonviolent protests and practices. He saw that protests were being shut down, so he wanted to fight back harder and stronger. He went so far with his beliefs that he fasted for 28 days against buying produce. In 1962, he created the National Farm Workers Association, also known as the NFWA. Their mission was to improve migrant farm workers' working conditions and to receive better wages. The NFWA later joined the Agricultural Workers Organization Committee to form the United Farm Workers, or the UFW. In 1965, the UFW went on a strike for grapes called the Delano's Grape Strike. This strike turned into a boycott against farmers' produce. They finally won a victory in 1970. The farm owners signed a contract that promised their workers better pay, benefits, and protections. This is what greatly impacted our society today. Cesar Chavez greatly impacted our society today with his actions. There are many things that everyone can advocate for, but some things that I advocate for is equal rights for women and better education. The reason I advocate for these things is because I am affected by them every day. Women receive less pay than men, and women are targeted more. Rape and sexual harassment are very real things that are dangerous threats to women and girls. I can advocate and do something about this by making my voice heard. When I finish higher education, I would like to speak up about these problems that women are having all around the world. I would also like to advocate for education. Education is very important, and many people cannot afford to pay for higher education. This is causing many young adults to have low-paying jobs because they cannot afford to receive higher degrees. This can be prevented by making universities free or at least cheaper than they are now. These are the two things that I advocate for, just as Cesar Chavez advocated for what he thought was right. Cesar Chavez grew up in poverty, he spoke up for his people's rights, and he made a huge impact on society today. He was a civil rights leader who fought for his rights and the rights of his people. He believed in nonviolence to express his ideas and led his people to victory.
A reminder, we are working to restore the Aztec calendar. There are 5 generations of Chicanos working to get this restored, to bring back to our community, to our gente, to restore our history, because public space carries public memory. That's a collective conscious, and that's our collective conscious. So it's important that we restore it in that.
Good morning, my name is Jimmy Castaneda. I've lived all my life here in Gilroy. I was one of the original muralists of the Aztec calendar and the handball courts.
Johnny Nunez, also a native from Gilroy, and also I'm just proud to be here. Honored to restore this calendar once again. It's probably, what, 30, 20-some years ago? It's been a long time. Proud to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. Very briefly, I'm not one of the original artists here, but I am going to be spearheading. I guess I'll be leading this project. I'm originally from San Diego. My first mural, I was a student at San Diego State. Gilberto Ramirez came to San Diego, and we did a mural in the Aztec Center in 1969-70. I was a part of the artist collective, Toltecas en Aztlán. The Centro Cultural de la Raza was happening in San Diego, late 60s, early 70s. Some of us, I know I look for the gray hair when I go someplace. And Toltecas en Aztlán was the artist group that initiated the murals at Chicano Park. So that's my history. And it's a pleasure for me to be working preservation of these things that represent our history is very important. So I thank you.
Real quick, I just wanted to let you all know that we've really been putting forth the effort to fundraise for this calendar. We've been selling tacos, menudo, enchiladas. We had a paint night with Nacho Moya. Is Nacho here? Well, shout out to Nacho. We know he does great work. And also Raj at Straw Hat Pizza for letting us have a fundraiser there. We have an application. If you want to be a donor, we put either your company or your family name on the design. So the design or the application comes with the design, so you can get an idea of what that looks like. And then also I'm selling some of my work, some of my prints, my viejo prints. They'll be in the back. Half of that will go towards the calendar. And then the painting that I did at Nacho's event is also in the back and is also going to be up for auction. And thank you very much.